Hi, this is Cameron Pierre from the Rusty Rupees podcast. I'm here with my co-host Justin Robinson and Deante. We are here at the Cygames live media event from San Francisco. We're going to be talking a little bit today about GranBlue Fantasy Relink and then also GranBlue Fantasy Versus Rising. We have Fukuhara-san and also Kaji-san here to talk about the games. If we can, Fukuhara-san, if you can first start off by talking a little bit about what GranBlue Fantasy Relink is.
まずは高橋さん、GranBlue Fantasy Relink というのはどんなゲームになりますか？
そうですね。ゲームジャンルはアクション RPG で、GranBlue Fantasy、モバイルで原作があるんですけど、それが空の世界が舞台の、冒険するゲームなんですが、でモバイルの方は小さいデフォルメキャラクターがクラシックスタイルの RPG のバトル繰り広げるものになってるんですけど、リリンクではその世界アートとかキャラクターが 3D で表現されていて、4人同時プレイで、結構本格的なアクションの連携が楽しめるゲームになってます。
So, GranBlue Fantasy Relink is an action RPG based on GranBlue Fantasy, the mobile game. Both games take place in the Sky Realm, where you go on a grand adventure. In the original game, each character was represented by chibi sprites, and the gameplay was more like a traditional RPG. So for this game, it's been fully realized in 3D, or rather for Relink, the game has now been fully realized in 3D, so it's not chibi sprites anymore. And you can play with up to 4 players in a pure action setting.
Awesome, thank you. I heard earlier that the game actually started production at Platinum Games. Kaji-san, if you could talk a little bit about how far in development the game got with Platinum Games before coming across to Cygames.
カジさん、2016年に開発しましたところで、プラチナムゲームズの開発になりましたが、いつ頃Cygamesに移動しましたか
？2019年ですね。2019年の4月。
So the game went over to Cygames in April of 2019.
Okay, and what stage of development was the game in when it came across?
移動したところで、開発のどんな段階で移動しましたか？
だいたいその、ゲームのストーリーであったりとか、アクションのシステムの骨子であったりとか、ゲーム部分っていうのが、ある程度見えた状況で、これからそのあらゆる部分を物量を量産したりであったりとか、クオリティを極限まで磨き上げるっていうスタートラインみたいなところまで作り込めてたというか、そういう段階でした。
So we were able to identify where the game would be able to go. So we had the basics of the game story down. We had the basics of the action systems in place. And we really got to a place where we could see the potential of what was to come and what type of quality we could achieve in this project.
Awesome. I just want to put out there that we're all huge fans of Nier. So thank you for your work on Nier. Last question regarding this. Platinum Games is highly regarded as some of the best developers of this kind of game, action RPGs, especially when it comes to the action elements. What has your experience with Platinum Games what have you been able to bring from your experience with Platinum across to working on this game?
まずはポッドキャストの皆さんはニア・アットマタの大ファンでその仕事本当にありがとうございますと伝えさせていただきます。あとはプラチナムゲームズでの経験がいっぱいあるとは思いますが、その歴史の中で最も価値となった経験は何でしょうか。GranBlue Fantasy Relink に対して。
やっぱりアクションゲームを多く作ってきたので、キャラクターの手触りっていうところはどれだけ重要かっていうところは、骨身に染みている部分ですと。でゲーム性でいうとそのキャラクターごとに、異なるアクション性いろんな遊びがあるので、その部分は今までいろいろとアクションゲームを作ってきたパターンの中でこういう遊びにするといいだろうっていうところを、スムーズにアウトプットできたのかなというところですね。
So I've had a lot of experience creating action games now. So in that experience, I've seen a lot of different characters with different play styles. So with GranBlue Fantasy Relink, I've been able to look at the characters, think about what type of mechanics are going to be unique to this character, and how they're going to play, how they're going to feel. Really push those mechanics and patterns, and really have a lot of output into the game with those things in mind. To make sure that each character comes across as unique and has great game feeling. So all of that experience comes into play when creating unique mechanics and fun to play characters.
Awesome, thank you. This question is directed at everybody. So I noticed that there is a lot of continuity between the three games, so between GranBlue Fantasy, GranBlue Fantasy Versus Rising, and then also Relink. How important is it to you guys to keep that continuity between the games and to expand upon this world that you've created?
原作、ライジング、リーディング、すべてちょっとつながりがあるとは気づきましたが、そのつながりはどのぐらい重要としますか？それとこれからどんな評価する予定ありますか？IP としてはこれから結構拡大させる予定ですか？
そうですね、やっぱり全部違うゲームなので何かを知ってないと楽しめないってのはならないようには必ずしようとは思ってます。ただやっぱりキャラクターが人気の IP なので、それぞれで同じキャラクター、例えばランスロットならランスロット全部に出ますけど、そういうのは大事にしてて、それはランスロットのファンの人がどのゲームをやっても楽しめるようになってると思いますし、例えばライジングとかリリンクでランスロットが好きで彼のことをもっと知りたいってなったら、原作の方をプレイしてもらうっていうのもあるとは思います。だからどれかを知らないと楽しめないってことはないので、ないしそうしないとって思ってます。
Thank you for noticing that all the games are related. So, in the GranBlue universe, one of the most important things that we want to do is make sure that the characters all stay consistent between each of the permutations of the world, if you will. So, they are different games, so of course they're going to have different systems and play differently. But for example, if you like Lancelot in Rising, you should be able to feel that Lancelot is the same character when you experience him in Relink or the mobile game. So it's something that we really want to focus on. Wherever you enter GranBlue, you're still experiencing the same GranBlue wherever you end up at the end of your GranBlue journey. But we also try to make it so that each of the games is approachable for people who are coming into GranBlue for the first time. So even if you don't know anything about the IP, feel free to jump in wherever.
Awesome. Along those same lines, where do we hope to see the GranBlue Fantasy series next? The GranBlue Fantasy dancing game, a GranBlue Fantasy racing game? Do we have any aspirations to take the franchise somewhere different next?
これからGranBlueの IP の希望は何にしますか？ダンシングゲームにしますか？レーシングゲームにしますか？
どんな挑戦する予定ありますか？
僕はレーシングゲームも好きだしリズムゲームも好きで、実際何年か前にエイプリルフールでですけどシアトリズムとコラボさせてもらったり太鼓の達人とコラボさせたりもしたりもしてるんで、なんかいろんな可能性はあるかなと、いろんなジャンルに展開できる余地はあるかなとは思ってます。
So personally, I really enjoy both racing and rhythm games, so not a bad suggestion. And actually, a few years ago in the mobile version of the game, we had some special April Fool's Day only games that were rhythm games. So, not completely out of the question.
Sick. This will be my final question. Thank you all for your time. I know that you're probably jet lagged and hungry, so thank you for squeezing us in. I'm going to jump across a little bit to Versus Rising. So I was wondering if you can talk a little bit about what Versus Rising is, but also more importantly, why Rising and why now? With the success of GranBlue Fantasy Versus, why Rising and why now? Why now?
はい、まずはですね、ライジングはですね、なぜ作ろうと思っていましたでしょうか。前作は、かなり売れましたので、なぜと、なんで今作ろうと思いましたでしょうか。
一番はそのロールバックが本当に1からリレー方式からのスカルっていうのは難しくて、本当に作り直すのと同じぐらいコストがかかるって話だったんで、じゃあもう作り直しましょうっていうところがスタートですね。でそれだけだと今後何年かもやるにはちょっと弱いというか、なんかもっとやりたいこととかもあったしので、全体的にパワーアップさせて、新作としてあくまで新作としてもう作り直していこうっていうところでしたね。
Right, so one of the biggest factors was, of course, the implementation of rollback netcode. It was something that was really difficult for us to implement since the original game was not developed for it. And so there were a lot of elements involved, including the cost and the time that it would take to do something like that. And so at one point we decided we wanted to kind of take the opportunity to power up elements from the previous game and include them in Rising as a new title.
Awesome, amazing. Well, thank you very much for your time. I could talk to you forever, but I won't. So thank you so much, and we'll be eagerly awaiting to play both of these games. Thank you. Safe travels back, and yes, we can't wait to talk to you again sometime soon. So thank you very much. Thank you. GranBlue Fantasy Relink releases February 1st, 2024. And GranBlue Fantasy Versus Rising releases November 30th, 2023. You can pre-order both games right now. They'll both be available on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Steam. Stay rusty.